I want you to think back to the first time you ever remember being truly afraid. What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? The House of Asher, a clearinghouse for the mind.
Hey guys, it's Stevie Asher, and this is House of Asher. You're on episode 17. It is getting ready to be Mother's Day. It's actually going to be Mother's Day tomorrow, and I just wanted to wish every mother out there a happy Mother's Day, and thanks for all that you do. A lot of times, being a mother is sort of a selfless job, and just it's always good to say thank you. And I know I'm certainly thankful for the job my mom did. She did the best she could. She was, like I may have mentioned in some of the earlier videos, her family was, come from Appalachian Mountains area, and family was very important to them, as hard work was as well. My mother worked pretty much up to the point she became disabled once I was a small boy, but she was really what word I'm looking for? Excuse me. She was the pivotal person. She was the one that really geared me toward interest into stuff that like the paranormal and legends and things like that. And I definitely wouldn't be, I guess, probably in the position I am now, and with the interests that I have now, at least to the degree that I have developed that, if it hadn't been for my mom. So I appreciate that. Also, my wife Cheyenne, she's an incredible mother and takes care of the kids, and deals with all my kind of weird idiosyncrasies and all my interests and stuff. And I love her very much, and I appreciate her. Was gonna say, just like because this show ties into sort of weird stuff, dark stuff. For every good story, there's all kinds of horror stories, literally, of horrific things, just bad mothers, mommy dearest, no wire hangers ever type situations. But what I want to talk about is more about legends. So one of the legends that we had locally growing up, and I'll touch on some ones around the world that in my travels and stuff, like to Thailand and through Japan and stuff, that I've learned about. The one local, it's sort of a play on the old skeleton woman story. I don't know how many people know about the skeleton woman story. Basically, ties into an old woman. They're living in the mountains with an old man. Well, they're running out of food. They're running out of firewood. So she's on this guy's back. Get out there, find us something to eat, find us some firewood, or we're gonna freeze to death. Well, he goes out, gathers a bunch of firewood, takes a lot of it inside, stacks some outside the front door, and so here, this will give you plenty of firewood before I get back. With some deer or whatever I can catch, rabbits or whatnot. Well, he goes out there, gets caught in the middle of a horrific blizzard, and he's still hunting. He's still out there. It's very time consuming, and so he's out there instead of maybe 3 or 4 days, he's out there closer to a week, going on 2 weeks. Well, luckily, the old woman has plenty of firewood, so she's not gonna freeze to death. But that wood starts kind of getting lower, so she has to make the fire smaller, and so she really has to get in on that flame and to keep her hands warm. And well, about a week or so into this, she gets her hand just a little too close and burns it. Well, most people, if they get a cut or something, it goes right in their mouth. It's just a instinctive thing we did. Well, this woman, and her response was, that actually tastes pretty good. And she put her hand back in, started kind of eating on her fingers, put her wrist in, started eating on her finger, her wrists, and before long, this woman had basically consumed herself in flames due to the fact that this is, pardon me, due to the fact that in Western culture and in most civilized culture, cannibalism is frowned upon. Um, this came at a terrible price, much like the Wendigo story or something like that. You consume on the living or on the dead, either one. There's always a terrible price for this. So, what happened was she basically became an animated skeleton. And once her husband come back with a deer and all that, she's all kind of covered up with a hood, and he comes in and he's like, "Well, look, wife, look what I found, and this and that. Let's get it on the firewall. Aren't there any pots and pans going? What's going on?" And she would kind of like be moving around the shadows, and he'd hear that click, 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 like bone tapping the ground. He's like, "What's going on?" And before he could do much, she threw off the cloak and was on top of him. Was eating this guy up. Well, the little local stories here were similar, except that there were children involved, and some of the children, they would be trying to chop the wood and this and that, while the father was looking for meat and all this. Well, long story short, it's sort of like a witch in a gingerbread house meets that story. Long story short, she eats the kids. They have nowhere to go. It's 5 foot drifts. They can't make it out there. The ones that do freeze, she pulls them back, and cooks them up and eats them. Yeah, cheery stuff. Like I said, understand these stories that go a long way and sort of give me the weird mindset that I got. But there it is. There it is. Anyway, that's my Mother's Day story for you guys, at least about locally. But I will mention another one that it's really kind of interesting, because there was like when I would visit Thailand, when we went to adopt our oldest son Joseph. There's different type of creatures. There's like the Krus, which is like a basically like a female vampire, but if you're familiar with like the Hammer classic versions of stuff like that, they're usually like beautiful women and really beguiling and just you're just like, wow, of course these guys are gonna follow them off into the woods. They're gorgeous, right? Well, the Krus or the Kraus, I'm sure I'm getting the pronunciation not quite right, is a little different. You can't tell this person's a vampire until night falls, and that's when they rise. But the thing is, they have a very interesting way of doing it. Like, say they were laying with whoever, their wife, husband, lover, whatever. Well, they would be laying next to them. So as opposed to disturbing them by moving off the bed, their heads would lift away from their torso. Right, so that you have an animated head floating along, which is super off-putting to begin with, but you have the added addition of all the viscera, all the organs and the hearts pumping and the lungs or this and that are wagging along. So off they go to attack their prey. Come back and it's really kind of insane because, of course, where all that blood's going to go is in those organs. So they go back and they're trying to. It takes them a while, and they're kind of corkscrewing their way back into their body because their organs are so bloated with fat or blood and meat and fat from their victims. So, anyways, say they finally twist back in there. The husband or whatever family is none the wiser, which thank God they didn't attack them. But that's another twist on some of what you would consider a classic story. But like I said again, it changes up due to the fact that you have that. There was the Maynok. Maynok was basically a female ghost who died in childbirth, and basically they have the ability to extend their arms, kind of like a Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four, extend their arms and snatch away children and things like that. It almost touches on the old Lilith story, which I'll tell you that a part of the thing. All right, here's the thing: a lullaby, like everything else, has an origin. And for those who do not know, Lilith in the uncanonized versions of the Bible and in the Hebrew text and whatnot was supposedly Adam's first wife. Now, where Adam was formed from the earth, breath blew into the clay, life come to him. He was a whole equal creature, he was a complete creature. Well, Lilith was done the same way. So she was given basically the same sort of freedom and autonomy and freedom of choice that Adam had. Well, the situation was Adam wanted to run that relationship, and more or less it was sort of a sexual disagreement, but it also went deeper than that. There was a thing where basically she's like, well, why should I have to lay under you? Why can I not be on, why can I not be more aggressive in this? Why can I not this and that? So anyway, there was back and forth, and she refused to do that. She's not, I'm not going to bow to you. I'm equal to you. So anyway, she was cast out. Apparently God, Adam, the whole crew said, you got to go. You're not working with the program. This is very patriarchal vibe. You out of here. So anyway, so then they go and take the rib, the whole rib story with Eve, and so that they are two parts of one whole. Kind of like He-Man Power Sword or whatnot for whatever fandoms you want to listen to. But anyway, so she was cast out, and supposedly she was the mother of demons and incubi and succubi and all the all these various little detriments to humanity and seekers of I guess the word would be just horrors and hardships to humanity. She was basically the proverbial thorn in the side of humanity. And one of her big things were, God love the church bells, one of her big things was snatching babies from their cribs as they slept at night. Now, this more, was connected with SIDS and things like that, but this is way before any of that was known. Well, what happened is the mothers would begin trying to take certain precautions with little talismans, things like that, things put around the bed. And one of the things that they would do is sing them a song, sing them some sort of protective song, which was to kind of keep Lilith away, Lilith by, keep her away, goodbye. Over time, as everything, if you follow how language works, things from Latin are shortened and things from that is shortened in time, and through going through different versions of languages, the word became lullaby. And that's why we have lullabies, because basically mothers are trying to protect their children from evil or extremely independently minded baby eating demon ladies. So yeah, there's that. But I'll tell you what, that's creepy. That's creepy shit. I'm sorry. Like I said, and that's the thing. And there's a lot of this all over. Like I said, you can go to a whole lot of different cultures. You can go to a whole lot of different places, and you can speak to a whole lot of different folks. And everyone has some weird version of this and that. There's just that thing. The Jorogomo. Okay, this is a Japanese legend I picked up. Basically, it's a Spider Woman. Yeah, you got it. She's just a huge spider, but she can take the ability, or take the form, has the ability to take the form of like a very beautiful a comely young woman. Now sometimes she's like half human and her lower part is a spider. That's kind of a deal breaker for me. I'm not a fan of spiders. Played a lot of D&D back in the day. Still got a thing against driders. I know I'm an anti-dridite. That's okay. I'll roll with that. I'll take that. I'll take that hit. But anyway, this Jorogumo would go and seduce men, wrap them up in her web, poison them with these giant fangs, sucking into them and all that good stuff, and eat them. There's also a different variation of this, where sometimes she would appear as a woman holding a baby. She's a mother, right? She took on what's more pure than a mother sitting there holding her little baby? Please help us, sir. What guy, red-blooded, American, Japanese, Thai, whatever person is not going to try to protect a woman with a baby? We're hardwired for that. That's our nature. It's in our DNA, in our Neanderthal and protective, beaten chest, Tarzanian guy. Anyway, so basically they'll ask men to please hold the baby, and help the baby. So for whatever reason, something's wrong with the baby. Well, what happens when they will do that? They come to find out that this isn't a baby. All right, the baby, air quotes, is made up of hundreds of thousands of spider eggs. Well, the thing about spider eggs, there's spiders in those eggs. So as soon as they get a hold of it, boom, these eggs pop, covering them head to toe, and consuming them. And so much for the hero. The hero becomes a hero sandwich. But I really dig the story because it's extremely visual, and it's one of those. I've always heard the thing, no good deed goes unpunished, and I guess that kind of comes from something like that. The last one I'll mention is there is a I'm blanking on the name. Give me a second. Was the Teki Teki, or TK. Basically, it was a person who had died on a train. I guess they were trying to get across a train, and there was a young girl. She got cut in half, and she's trying to find like her mother, and she will go around and try to get people to come onto the train, kill them, with a scythe, if she can't get them to the train track. So they'll have to wander through life with them, more or less in a limbo type situation. Supposedly she'll go through to bathroom stalls and basically take their legs off. I don't know. I guess sometimes girls gotta poop. I don't know, but it seems like there's a lot of legends, especially in Asian culture, about dying when you poop. Which, I mean, if you think about it, you're no more at the mercy of something dark like that than when you're in the shower, when you're asleep, or when you're pooping. And it's perfect nightmare fodder, and I just love this stuff. But again, I just want to say happy Mother's Day to everybody. But my tale is coming to an end. I do want to thank everybody. Excuse me. I do want to thank everybody, especially all our oddities in Paducah, and my buddies down there at Posh Embroidery, who help with some of the stuff here at the show, and help make sure that I have all the cool stuff and all the cool T-shirts and whatnot that I do with my books and my book signings. Which, if you want to check any of that out, go to stevieasher.com. That's all lowercase and together. And I just want to say, enjoy your day, have fun, love your mamas, do good stuff for your moms, make her some pretty cards and macaroni pictures and all that good stuff.